I love that song.
We always get caught mid dancing.
It's my favorite thing. It's so good. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Happy Sunday. Welcome back to Chill to Action on the Call to Action Network. You know me. It's your girl, Danny Joy here, hanging out with you every Sunday as usual with my favorite co-host, Mr. Paul Benuzio.
It is me. It's PLD. Glad to have you with us on this Sunday once again. I'm glad that you guys have found us since we moved over to Sundays, at least for the time being. It's Blame PLD. Yes, I know. This one is my fault. I think when you see Blame PLD in the chat, I'd say about 22% of the time it's actually accurate. But you know what? I'll take the heat. It's okay. Give it to me because
you know what, Paul? I'm glad that you said that. You do get a lot of heat and you get a lot of shit thrown at you. But I would like to take this second to tell you that I appreciate you for taking all of the shit.
Well, your appreciation of me is going appreciated, is being appreciated. So, but let's not talk about us anymore. We have a guest, as we always do, and I'm actually surprised it took us this long to get this guest. I don't know. Like, I look back when we're going to invite these weeks. I'm like, wait, we haven't had Jeff on yet. How is that possible? He's one of the mainstays. He's one of the top dogs. Like, we should have had him on first couple of weeks.
I was genuinely hoping to get through this entire interview without that being the issue, because that is actually a hashtag blame DJR on that one. So
that's the DJR one. Okay, good. I'll take that one. So without further ado, the one and only, he is the Sneider himself, Jeff Sneider. My friend, how are you?
Hello. Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So good to have you on. Like I said, you're a stalwart in the league, a legend. Been there for so long, but you made so much impressions on all of us. So we're really honored and happy to have you.
I'm surprised that it took me this long to come on too, for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, first and foremost, I'm the most fascinating person in the Schmoedown, naturally. And number two, I'll do anything Danny asks. So
I'm in the same boat. That's why I'm co-hosting with her. She asked me once, and I just haven't gone away yet.
Yeah.
That's how I hook them. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the show. We were super excited to have you on. Like Paul said, an OG in the Schmoedown. I've been a huge fan of you for a very long time, honestly, truly. Long in your reign in the Schmoedown, truly. But as always, we always like to ask the same question as your first question here, and it's, how did you get involved with the Schmoedown? How did you start playing with the Schmoedown? I feel like I don't know this story. Please.
I don't even know if I remember. I think I'd been paying attention to it because it was something that I knew Christian and Riley and some of those guys, and I'd seen what they were doing, and I thought it was special. I've always thought it was special. I've always thought it was a brilliant idea that Christian had, $1 million idea, really, I was just lucky that he asked me to be a part of it. I thought it'd be a natural fit at it. I love movies. I'm good at trivia. And so he kind of just threw me and Umberto out there together. I think that was my first match, right? And I didn't even know what was going on. Umberto clearly didn't know what was going on. And I guess I've always taken advantage of the rules, so to speak, and it benefited me in that first match. And I've been off to the races ever since.
That was a legendary first match. I always forget that, and somebody brings it up. I'm like, oh yeah, Umberto. I actually rewatched that match not too long ago, and when it is he gave you the answer basically after the point, after it was your turn to steal. He gave you the answer anyway. I'm like, oh man. You're not lasting very long, but
he said Mel's Diner. It was not his turn, and I was like, I was going to say diner, but you're right.
That's right. Well, I think the first big moment in the Schmoedown I remember for you was the decision. Obviously, when you joined up with JT for the first time, I have to ask, knowing the wrestling aspect and the storyline aspect, was that all specifically pre-planned that night? You knew that you were coming out. Everybody knew you were there. Did everybody know? Or was that anybody surprised?
I'm not exactly sure who knew what. Okay. I'm not sure if JT knew or not. I'm really not. I'm forgetting if you can believe it. But I knew I was going to be paired with JT, and they were going to do the whole Boston thing and be the Patriots. So I think that he did know, since we sort of had a team name picked out. Although that may have been Christian's doing as well. He may have just assigned it.
Right. I was actually wondering if JT, because I know that it was, if Clark went with him, then that'd be one way. So I didn't know if actually he knew if Clark was going to decide or not. I mean, he had to use the backup, obviously, at that point.
Right. I didn't remember how many games had I even played by then. Who had I beaten that would even have JT so excited?
I don't. Yeah,
I don't know where I was in the league at that point.
It wasn't very. I don't feel like it was very far into it. But
you guys didn't tell me to study my own history. I expected me to remember it, and you'd be wrong.
I think that just goes to show, Jeff, how long you've been playing inside of the Schmoedown.
I'm the oldest 36-year-old you'll meet.
Yeah, Jeff, so you've been in the league for quite some time now. You've been able to see it go from what it was, the wild, wild west Schmoedown back then, to this really, like, I can't even think of the right words to say for the Schmoedown, like what it is today. So seeing that growth and that change inside of the Schmoedown, did you ever think that it would get to the point that it is right now?
I mean, I did. And honestly, I think it can get even bigger. I think that listen, like a lot of stuff, and I'm not going to complain because we're still lucky enough to be able to do it online, right? But I think that the pandemic really hurt the Schmoedown's momentum and growth. I think that the live stuff was really going very well. And we just had, the league had a certain momentum. And, even something like the Kevin Smith, Chris Jericho match was like, to me, it felt like it was supposed to be a big moment for the league. Like that evening was supposed to be like a victory lap, and then Chadwick Boseman passed. It was just terrible timing. And so the league has unfortunately fallen victim to terrible timing. There's nothing you can do about that, obviously. But I do think that it is poised because there's so many hours of content. And it's not just that you can watch each episode, and maybe that's the drawback to it, is that you can't. I think you can just tune in whatever for the trivia. But people keep coming back for the storyline. And that's so many hours of content that Netflix could just make it a box on its streaming service, and Netflix should be acquiring the Schmoedown or Hulu or any of these places because it comes with a built-in audience and just hours and hours and hours of content that they don't need to produce because it's already done.
Makes a lot of sense.
I would love to see the Schmoedown on Hulu specifically. I don't know why Hulu is the first thing that comes to mind, but I feel like it would work well on that.
Listen, it's aimed at young people. I'm just saying, now that Skybound has acquired it, Skybound obviously has a background in television, having, being involved with The Walking Dead and that all that stuff. So they are hopefully, Christian, I think, made a deal with them to grow the league. And I think that they have been doing a great job of that under the circumstances during the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, interesting enough where the league has gotten to. The league definitely, and I know this is also partially due to the pandemic. Christian's been stressing the sports aspect side to it. Obviously, the storylines have kind of taken a little bit of a backseat because there's no cutscenes as much and everything else. Is that a balance you want to see restored, as we go on with after the pandemic's over, getting more of the cutscene stuff? Or are you happier with it being the more sports?
I got to be honest. I don't pay too much attention to the cutscene stuff unless I'm asked to be in it. Some of the cutscene stuff is really funny, and it's like, oh my, I can't believe you guys came up with this idea or executed it this way. But then listen, the Schmoedown to me is more about the trivia than it is about the acting, and there's a lot of bad actors who are just more naturally comfortable in front of the camera, and other people are just I'm good at trivia, and those things don't always mesh.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, as someone who's been watching it for quite some time, when I first got into it, I was definitely way more into the trivia than the storylines, and I got in trouble for that. But going now into what the league is now, all of that stuff, it's so cool to see what they've done and how it's grown into those storylines. I can't think of it. I can't think of the right way to say what I'm saying. So I'm just going to shoot it back.
The trivia is the hook. I mean, it's the same thing with wrestling. You don't watch wrestling at first for the storyline. You're tuning in at first for the wrestling. It's the storyline that keeps you there. That's to me what the Schmoedown is. It's the trivia that draws you in, but it's the storylines and the factions and all that stuff that keeps you invested for that whole season.
Well, that's exactly it. Because you can get trivia, to your bar. You can get a local bar trivia. You can get a trivia show anywhere. You can see it a lot.
Not anymore, but
oh yeah, not anymore. True. Fair enough. But now
thank you, Jeff. Thank you for saying exactly what was on my brain. I appreciate it.
I got you, man. We got a link.
There's definitely a link there. Oh, what do you think about your legacy in the Schmoedown now? You've been there long enough. You had people talking about the older days, the early champions like the Rileys and everything else. You have the later day people like the Bateman getting his belt and Merle being there. Where do you think you stand as far as everything?
I think I have unfinished business, my legacy. I don't think I'm done writing my legacy.
Good to know.
I think I'm embedded as one of the greatest players ever, just from the sheer strength that I think I'm the greatest teams player ever, and that's if it wasn't half the entire league at first between singles and doubles, now it's a quarter of the league with Star Wars and Inner Geekdom or whatever, if we're going to acknowledge those on the same level. We're not really going to get into that until you guys ask, of course. But,
I'll ask, I'm sure.
I think I'm underrated in this league. I think that a bad round against Bibbs has overshadowed what should be my legacy. I think that my record, it could be better. And you know what? I had that performance against Oyama, New York, and I blew it. I brought my C game, and you can't be average and win a game like that. And I choked under the pressure, and I second-guessed myself. I didn't do well. But the championship was right there. Okay? And that playing Ethan, it was right there. And all my losses, whether it's Christian, they've all been close except for the Bibiani one. And so I think that people put a little bit too much stock in that. I think I'm as competitive as anyone in this league. And while I may not know the stuff from the 60s or the 70s and even some of the 80s stuff, if you put a movie from 1990 on in front of me, the last 30 years of movies, I'm going to know more than the average person.
Okay. I like that. And I think you're right. You bring it up. The match against Bibiani gets a lot of volume for some reason because of what happened and everything else. Really amplifies that, but it's only one match. I mean, you're talking to a guy who has 17 career singles matches and like 21 teams matches. So it's one match out of that many times. It shouldn't define anybody at all.
I get disrespected. I was just told, the other day I was just told I'm going into the Oyama match, and I guess I understand it, as the underdog. I'm the underdog going, so I'm just like, I feel like I'm underrated.
Yeah, well, that's something. You are going against Oyama. Oyama is the former champion, so I guess that does have something to do with it. His singles record at that point was 7-2.
He beat me. A square, he's 1-0 against me, so I get it. Why I would be the underdog in this match. I just like, the overall rankings,
right?
The way that a bracket should be laid out. Like I've said multiple times, Christian just doesn't know how to make a bracket.
Could be. I want to do that.
I'm facing this kid in the second round. Like, it's too early. We're like a finals matchup, but you guys are getting in the second round.
Hey, steal in the second round, then I guess to steal. How do you feel about that? Getting your second shot there? Do you feel like you got a chance for redemption? You're really excited about it?
I mean, he's good. He's very, very good. I am out for revenge. That is going to be what drives me in this match.
Okay.
It is the revenge tour, the redemption tour, if you will. And there's nothing more than I like to see. It's like Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Like, they didn't lose to the same team twice or 2 weeks in a row. Like, they fix their mistakes, and hopefully I can do that.
Okay. All right. Think about revenge tour, maybe instead of revenge tour. Is there anybody in the league that you haven't got a chance to play that you would love to be able to sit down one-on-one and play?
You're setting me up for this one. I want to have the big dog, and it's a lot of. I mean, to climb to get there, to earn a match with the haloed Dan Murrell. I mean, you'd have to beat like 15 people. It's like ridiculous. It's like the final boss in the really endless video game. I just want to play Dan Murrell one time and show everyone in the league that I think I have what it takes to take Murrell, if not beat him, to take him to the limit.
Okay, so you don't even care about the belt necessarily. You just want to face Murrell just to face him and be
just to say I even got a shot to face him, and I guess he's if you win the tournament, that's who you get to play. So that's why I'm trying to win. It's not just beating the people who beat me before. It's trying to get that Murrell. That's like the big carrot that they're dangling on a stick.
I would have loved to have seen a match between the Patriots in their heyday versus Founding Fathers. I feel like that'd be a fun match to watch.
I mean, Roka's one of that's Roka. He's on that team, right? Yeah. Roka's the greatest to ever work the camera. The camera loves John Roka. And you put us together and you get fireworks no matter who the partners are. So maybe we'll meet in the doubles tournament. They've announced those teams, right? They announced the
yes.
So me and Draco, we're getting back together again. I was like, you know what, Roxy, we got to run it back. And it's tough. There's some killer teams this year, but I like our chances. I like our odds, if you will.
You could actually bring those teams up in a way. Take a look at it. I have it in here. There you go.
Yeah, run me down. Who are these people? Oh my God.
You got Swag at final exam with
Irwin's
Swag.
with Andrew Guy.
That is the official one. Yes, it is.
Wow.
And you got
Oyama and Lon. That's a good team. I've always respected Lon because him and John Harris beat us.
Yes, that's right. I was surprised by that. I forgot about that.
They were good. You know, I tell you, to play two brothers who have that kind of connection, trust, like that was tougher than you'd think. They were good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Oh, wow. So those are also, yeah, and Jader and Brandon Henry.
Marisol?
Marisol and Adam Collins, the rookie team from Korea.
That could be a good team. There's some up and comers there. I don't know how Collins is going to do in this tournament, but we'll see.
I've always said, I said before about Collins, is that he's won 2 straight matches and made great debut, but he's never faced any adversity, never been down, never gotten like knocked in the mouth and then try to come back. So I want to see that happen. Get him to the 3rd round.
I mean, listen, I don't think you can let I guess I want to ask you guys, what does the tournament mean to you? Because it's like, do you put all the stock in the tournament? Is someone who does great in the tournament a great player, or should the tournament not just speak volumes on your performance?
Well, whether it does or it should are 2 different questions. I think it does. I think it does because it's always set up. It's always hyped up, and if you win a tournament, it means you're winning for 3 or 4 matches in a row. Usually, the better players are in those tournaments. There's not a lot of squash type matches.
No place to hide, yeah.
Right, no place to hide. So I think if you get through a tournament and you win all 4 matches or 5 or whatever it is, you got to get a little a step up from where you were. I think, unless you're automatic, if you're Dan Merle and winning the tournament.
All right, so you think it affects your reputation? How you do?
Absolutely does affect you.
Okay, Danny, what do you think?
So this is also kind of where my tiny bit of sports brain comes in just a little bit. I think for the Schmoedown, looking at teams going into the Schmoedown and looking at it like that, with this season specifically, I feel like I have to put an asterisk on it because I do agree with what Paul said. I do believe that your performance in a tournament does matter. I just feel like in this tournament, because there's only one team from each faction, so we don't get a lot of different teams from in there to see a lot of different gameplay from competitors and stuff like that. So that's the only thing about this specific season that I feel like that's that asterisk on the teams tournament. And also I don't know how it would be in a regular studio session if they would do more than one team for the
right, because you're missing that in-person element. That's a good point.
Yeah, so that's the only thing about this season for the teams tournament and the Schmoedown. But I do agree that I do think that your play in the tournament does kind of matter in the same sense that your gameplay in the Schmoedown matters, because everyone has an off day. We all know that Makuga magic and all of that happens every once in a while. You know what I mean? So we've seen Stacey Howard knock people out and break brackets and stuff like that. So sometimes I feel like that's a little piece of it that you have to keep in mind. But I do kind of, yeah, Paul, I agree.
There have already been huge upsets in this tournament, but it's like I'm not ready to say because so Roka lost, right? That happened.
Yeah. You got TKO'd by Adam Collins, by the rookie.
Right. Okay. So it's like, okay, are we saying Adam Collins is better than Roka now? Like, I don't know if I'm ready to go that far, but I think that the great players are still entitled to an off day. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, 100%. I do think that Adam Collins winning these 2 matches in the tournament as a rookie definitely helps his standing. Like if it was just 2 random matches in the year, be okay, he's 2-0, let's see what happens. But put him in a tournament which seems more important, and then he heals a John Roka. That's a big step for a state.
Definitely one to watch. There's Adam Collins, definitely one to watch.
And Marisol also has done very well too. So putting them on the team together, I mean, as you know, it takes some time to get teams, get their chemistry right, get their camaraderie right, et cetera, to work together, right? But if they do well, that could be a good statement as well.
I did watch that Marisol thing, to prep for Oyama on Tuesday, and she was very good. She impressed me. That was a tough match, tough first round for her.
Has there ever been a rookie that you've seen coming up in past seasons that is now doing well that you've noticed at the beginning that you thought would do well?
You know what? I always did have a good feeling about the kid. He grew up in showbiz, and he just always seemed like he knew his stuff. Like he was like the kid who in between takes was just rushing back to his trailer to finish watching a movie. So
Yeah, the kid surprised me. I know when I was out there for Spectacular, I mentioned this on another show. I got to talk to him a little bit, and like he was talking strategies upon strategies. He's like a little mini Ben Bateman as far as like strategies go. Like
he's like a little walking rope-a-dope, okay? Because he's so innocent looking, and yet I know he's dangerous as anybody.
The big smile can
he's just like boom.
Well, you know what? Let's ask. I know you have this derision for the IG and the Star Wars leagues and everything else. Now, what I'll ask you before you go into that is there a division that you would like to see that you would have a little more respect for, that you'd like to see maybe the movie Trivia Schmoedown develop?
You know what? I mean, an indie film division, if only because I do think that there are way more indie films than studio films in a given year. I think that indie movies are 60% of the movie business these days. I would like to see a foreign film league.
Okay.
Like Schmoedown International.
Okay. All right.
Interesting to me, and a way to expand the league, globally. I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about that a little bit more. Besides Marvel or DC belts, like what else do fans want? James Bond?
Horror is one.
There's been the horror-thon. Your partner's mentioned the horror-thon, and I guess that's been talked about heavily for some particular reason. But,
the horror-thon?
Yeah, a horror match, possibly.
Oh,
the horror division.
I haven't heard about such an event. Interesting.
I feel like those are the just Marvel is one that just gets talked about the most with that. I know me personally, I'd want an animation or a Disney Pixar one, but that's just
I don't think I'll be competing for that. Guys, why is animation always question 8 in the first round? It drives me insane.
They want to keep you from having a perfect round. That's pretty much the only.
They really do. It's a conspiracy.
Illuminati.
I'm not opposed to animation in the first round. Make it question 4 or 5, so you don't think, oh, I've got this perfect round within sight, and then they ask some crazy animation question, and it's like, screw you, Mark Ellis.
I have a question, Jeff. This is so with JTE having the JTE rule and all of that stuff, and the JTE rule is infamous because we all know that it seemed like he was kind of using it as a strategy sometimes. Did you know that ahead of time before this became like the official JTE rule? Did you know that that's what he was doing with it?
I can neither confirm nor deny certain strategies, knowing a reunion could possibly happen one day. But I think that JTE almost I don't know. He's like a little bit like Brendan Meyer too, in that people look at JTE and they don't expect him. They don't expect much, but he was great. And I wish we had drafted him this year, particularly with the league moving online. I can't believe that we haven't gotten any JTE matches. But then somebody made us get rid of JT. It was nonsense.
That's true. That did happen. And there was a little controversy there where you talked about Roxy and Rocky.
Who did we get for him?
God, what was that? That was the Vado match, the Star Wars player.
Yeah.
So you wanted to Star Wars because you had Alex Damon as the champion, couldn't be in the tournament.
And that was right before the tournament.
So didn't last very long.
It's like in fantasy football when you have to drop a great player, but because there's an injury at another position, so now you need to fill the position.
It's such heartbreaking at that point, and then you feel bad a week later. You're like, damn it, I really need to do that for that.
Yeah, man, it would have been nice to have JT earning points for us, but whatever. Them's the breaks. He gets to be involved however much he wants. He's earned that right.
Oh, definitely. I think JT is great. I used to love that he was very. You said it before. He kind of surprised you how good he was, because every once in a while he'd have a match where he'd lose something. You're like, oh, maybe he's done. He lost to the Olympic champion, Cody Miller. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, okay, but then he'll come back and he'll bring you to he'll take the champion to the final round. You're like, oh, this is the JT.
And that's the thing about the great ones, Paul. It's about how you pick yourself up. That's how you recover.
Rocky Balboa is not how you get hit. It's about how you get hit and keep moving forward.
That's right.
Rocky. But yeah, another thing, speaking of teams, I just noticed I was doing a little research today. You actually did another trivia match recently here, at least this summer, and you teamed up with John Roca. How did that happen? How did you guys get together?
First of all, what do you think of that? Because Barstool Trivia was super hard. those were intense matches. Those guys were really good, actually.
They were. It was a fun match.
A great team in the Schmoedown. Ken Jack and was it RA?
I think it was RA. I think that's who it was.
And I had a blast. Like they asked me for some reason because I told them I'd love to be on it. When I thought about getting a partner, I was like, well, I play with Andrejko all the time in the Schmoedown. Who do I not play with? Who I could call and who I stay in touch with a lot? And that's Roka. And I was thrilled that he said yes. I thought we played really well together. He had some great pulls. I had some great pulls. And it was a lot of fun.
I was like, Schmoedown alternate universe right there. If that had happened, that you and Roka actually become a team at one point.
You're right. It was Bizarro World, Paul.
It really was. It was great, though. Maybe someday. Maybe one of those what ifs.
Everyone watching this should go track down those episodes because those were pretty good.
They were a lot of fun, I gotta admit. So So what about with the team's tournament? Now you have Mark and Andrejko. You're ready to go. Now, how has that been different with Mark than it was with JTE? Because you have two really successful teams now. I mean, again, I know the main link is that you're a part of both of them. I get that, but
Mark, it is very different. Their strengths are very different. I can count on JTE to have seen all the Schwarzenegger and Van Damme 80s movies and stuff. And Draco's strengths, are the opposite. And he knows like musicals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what I know, and I've sort of never made any apologies for that. I think it's pretty clear what I don't know. But Andrejko, he's a solid compliment. He's a little like cocky sometimes, like me. So we're both a little impulsive and shoot from the hip. But he's also very logical. So I don't know. It's a good balance, and with Roxy managing us, she just knows how to talk to us.
Okay, that's interesting. Roxy as a manager, so it's been
a different approach than Tom and JTE. That was like, yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Everybody has Roxy and Dagnino has this feud. You would know better than anybody about who is the better manager, or at least maybe the better manager for you.
I mean, they're very different styles. Like, right. who's a better coach, Phil Jackson or Red Auerbach? Like, right. I don't know.
What's the better sandwich, a grilled cheese or a Cubano?
Grilled cheese or a peanut butter and jelly, maybe.
Who's the peanut butter and jelly, and who's the grilled cheese then?
I'm so white. They are both wonderful managers. Roxy, I think Roxy's a lot better than people give her credit for. They've sort of focused on the sexy numbers of it all, which is like 2 words that she says, going into round 3. It's kind of weird. She's just like very nurturing and understand. Like she's sympathetic, especially when you lose. Like she's someone who'll give you a hug, and you didn't get that from Tom. So.
We definitely saw Roxy's what you said about Roxy in New York when you played against Paul the first time, watching her behind the scenes and stuff.
With my family, she was great.
There's this really great picture of Roxy and Smets behind the scenes, like both of them like just kind of yelling at y'all, and it's so great. It's so good to see. But Roxy has always been a manager that seems very compassionate towards her players and all of that stuff. Has she been a big help for this season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she was very helpful in round 1 with Montano. I think she's done a great job with Mark and I. Did Mark's second round air? I forget. I don't even know.
No, Mark's is this week, I believe.
Oh, Mark there's this week. Wow.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're wrong. I'm wrong. Mark, Brendan beat Mark. That's true. That was the first.
Okay, yeah. So, okay. But you know what? She did a great job with him in that match. And I have faith that she's going to, lead me to victory against Oyama. I don't think that we'll make the same mistakes that we made in New York, because, we did make some strategic errors. Those are unusual. Those are sort of unforced errors. That's what loses you championships. So I don't anticipate us making those kinds of errors again.
Were you at all worried about Paul putting something like Inner Geekdom on the wheel at all, or like the Harry Potter?
I have no idea. He may put Mel Brooks on the wheel. I don't know. Like I'm very worried about what could be on this wheel with Paulo Oyama, which is why I'm trying to study my weaknesses, but at the same time, I also have to admit to myself, these are weaknesses, and you're going to have them. That's okay.
I got to be sometimes it's more important to strengthen your strengths and have those. Hopefully, because it's the luck of the wheel. The wheel's a lucky draw anyway. So if you have enough strength,
right, and I've got some surprises in store for him as far as my wheel slices. I don't think I think as you guys know, I put a lot of Tarantino, a lot of Fincher on the wheel, and I'm sort of trying to move away from that strategy for this tournament. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right, I can't wait for that. That's coming up on Tuesday, I believe. Is that a match? I believe so.
Oh God, jeez.
I believe it's Tuesday.
I got to hit the books.
There you go. Get ready to go. Now, how about the whole idea of getting Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho? That you said that was supposed to be a big event this year, and it was as big as it could be given the situation. How is that for you? How excited were you to see Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho join the Schmoedown?
I thought it was just super cool. I mean, Smith is someone I know and love. I've always loved Kevin. And I'm lucky enough that when, he or I walk into a room where the other one is, it's like, oh my God, you're here. He's awesome. And I think he showed that match was just so entertaining. That was something I could watch with Dad, and it's not like, well, it's Roca versus Bateman for the 8th time or Irwin versus Bibbs or whoever.
Right.
Like, this is Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho. And Dad was like, oh my God, they got Chris Jericho to do this. He was super entertaining. He knew his stuff too. I didn't feel like the questions were terribly dumbed down for either of them. I just think, he got Kevin Smith movies. That's tricky.
Yeah. I did well with the category too, though.
He did.
He did well. It's great.
It definitely meant a lot for the exposure. Hopefully, more celebrities and wrestlers maybe will partake, because I don't want it to just be, I have something to promote. Right. That was the great thing about it. God bless the kids from the Losers Club who came in and did those matches. Thank everybody who came in and took the time to play the Schmoedown. But it is great when they don't even have projects and they just want to play the game.
Right. And they both talked so well about it afterwards. You knew they were there to have fun with it and really get along. So hopefully we can have more matches from that. It'd be great to see them against other. I'd love to see a Rachel Silvestrini versus Kevin Smith, for example, kind of thing. Someone who's a big fan of his kind of thing. That should be really cool as well. I
mean, I feel like I should be getting a shot at Kevin Smith.
Favorite Kevin Smith movie? What's your favorite?
I have to say Mallrats is my favorite.
Okay.
But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is very close, because that's the movie I quote the most and on just a day-to-day basis.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. That is a very cool. So I feel like that's the greatest hits of Kevin Smith, all in one package. It's a greatest hits album, pretty much.
Yeah, it's underrated in the filmography. I love Clerks and Clerks too, but yeah, Mallrats is always for me going to be a special one.
All right. Fair enough. I can't wait for that more.
If there was any celebrity that you would want to see play in the Schmoedown, who would you pick?
So Christian just had Paul Walter Hauser. I think Paul Walter Hauser would be good, and I'd like to see Paul Walter Hauser take on someone like Josh Gad, who, if you have a Zoom link, Josh Gad will be there. So Josh Gad's doing everything these days. He's saying yes to the dress, baby. I love Josh Gad, for the record. He's the man. Both of those guys are great, so I'd love to see them take on each other in a Schmoedown. But imagine if you got Quentin versus Scorsese, oh my God.
That'd be, oh man.
Oh man.
That'd be the ultimate cinephile, right?
Right.
Scorsese. You can't get better than that, right?
I feel like Quentin would do it. If the right avenue is taken and the right experience, I kind of feel like he would do it.
The other guys who I'd love are the old guard, okay? To see someone like Roper. Richard Roper,
right?
On David Edelstein or something, or friggin' Richard, just one of these New Yorker critics or something.
That is true. Yes, Weston Doug. He didn't get drafted. He was signed mid-season, but we haven't gotten to see him yet. I figure we'll see him at some point, though.
Doug Benson.
That was good, though. And no, that's not good too, Chris. Bobby Whitehead and Star Wars would actually be kind of a fun match as well. He's a big Star Wars fan, so So you're not like I go back to, and I'll go back to the IG thing. And you said you don't like, but I don't understand why you're so vehement against it.
I'm not against it. I just feel like in IG, you know what to study. You know what the movies that qualify for IG are. There's a list. All you got to do is watch the 30 or 40 movies on the list, really. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe I'm underestimating the number of titles. I mean, the fact is that there's a list, and a list exists, and you know exactly what the curriculum is. With the regular Schmoedown, I don't feel like it's even possible. I mean, you have to be ready for absolutely anything. And so I feel like while the belts are totally legitimate and to know the more than about Star Wars than anybody else is like, those are the matches, guys, where I stand there and I'm in awe. When I see Ken Knapsack answering questions, and I'm just going like, what are you guys talking about? Okay? But at the same time, it's just like why isn't there a Fincher or Tarantino belt or a Michael Mann Heat belt? Like, okay, you're not going to know more about Heat or Silence of the Lambs or Seven than me.
Fair enough.
You can't even fathom a world where that person exists.
Have you ever pitched any of these exhibition matches, like a Quentin Tarantino match or a Michael Mann match?
Sign me up for all that stuff. Sign me up for a Scream match, but like, I only want to do Scream. Okay, if I have to do Scream 2, fine. But I don't want to have to go watching Scream 3 and Scream 4 with a magnifying glass. Like, those aren't very good movies.
No,
Scream, right. I'm in.
Scream, I'd be a giant for that one too. Scream 2, okay enough. Okay enough.
I mean, I like all the exhibition. Like they're doing Rocky, right? Or did they already do Rocky?
That one just there.
Yeah, like they have some fun ones for sure. I like those franchise. Like imagine like a Halloween franchise.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that they could do for fun, but instead, when people are like, "Well, what should the new belt be?" Marvel. It should be DC. Who wants to? I can't watch those movies more than once or twice at the most. Who's watching these movies 5, 6 times, let alone 12 times? Like I've seen other 90s thrillers.
I think out of that whole situation that happened for me, like knowing that you've been involved with the Schmoedown for that long and you have opinions about the Schmoedown the way that you do, but you're still involved with it and you stay in it, and listening to you now talk about the Schmoedown, it's really nice to hear that you have that passion for the Schmoedown and believe in it that way. And so I always love to hear competitors talk about the Schmoedown.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously near and dear to me, and I do read a lot of the stuff that people write. I do respond to a lot of it on Facebook. Maybe I shouldn't, but I don't know. It's just everybody has their own opinions about movies, about television shows and music, whatever it may be, and they have it about the Schmoedown too. And just when I see some of the people who they think are actually better than me, it like blows my mind. I don't want to name names because
competitors. Other competitors?
My motto for this podcast is humility, but geez.
Other competitors or fans?
Other competitors, like okay. no, fans. It's mostly fans.
Okay, fans. All right, fair
fans.
Enough.
I mean, God, like there are people who have retired for a reason.
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting because we're at that juncture in the league where fan interaction is something that can happen a lot more than like other sport. You can't sit down and interact with your favorite Major League Baseball player or your favorite NFL player, but you get these interactions with the competitors and things. So it almost feels like it's a weird dichotomy because I can sit there in a forum and say, Aaron Judge is a piece of crap and go on about it. Nothing's going to happen. But I go on and say something like Jeff Sneider's a piece of crap. You're going to come in and start talking shit to me kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very interesting dichotomy.
Usually. I mean, it's weird for me when I sign on to Facebook and I see the first thing I see is a poll about what a loser I am or I'm going to be. It's like, geez, all right. Well, I see 20 people believe in me, and okay, well, I use that to drive me, and I'm going to use it to drive me this tournament, and try to prove the doubters wrong. And if I can't, I tried. Believe
you do what you had to do. That's all there is to it. What do you think about the recent, for example, the speed round change? I'm just going off my head now. Like we have the speed round that got changed for round number 4, is it? Whatever the championship matches. Do you like the new speed round that's been developed for StreamYard, or would we go back? Would you like to go back to the buzzers?
I'm sorry, I gotta be honest. What is the new speed round?
Oh, okay. Let's see the match. Okay, so maybe you found this on the tournament. Now they have the team spirit. Basically, the competitors are set up, and now the opponents will be taken off and put into a different room. and you just get like 60 seconds. It's like an Iron Man kind of 60 seconds. You get like question. You can pass and then come back to it later on kind of thing. And so it's not about beating your opponent to the question. Like the old butters is who gets it first. This is more about a speed over a certain amount of questions.
So are you trying to get the most questions right within the time?
Right. You have like 10. I forget how many questions. It's like
it's
10.
10. It's 10, but you still lose a point if you get the question wrong.
Right.
But you don't lose a point if you pass on it. And if you pass on it, and at the end of 60 seconds, if you don't get it, you just don't get it.
Right.
But you don't lose a point if you just pass on it.
So, for example, Bateman had like made a big going about he got the buzzer going, but now it's kind of taking that away a little bit. So I don't know what you think would be better.
This sounds like a lot of fun. I'm interested in this. I mean, I always listen. I'm more well, Jen Sturger's husband takes the cake for the most athletic, I suppose. But I always got me and Mark Ellis. We're like the most athletic guys in the Schmoedown. I've got very good hand-eye reflexes, I think, and so I always knew how to work the buzzer pretty well.
Right.
Some of these people, I mean, they're like Jeopardy prodigies or something. They've been studying buzzer theory and things like that. There's nothing I can do with that. So yeah, I'm open to this new thing. That sounds interesting. I haven't seen the title match with Bateman, so
okay, all right, that's good to know.
He doesn't. He's not in this tournament, right?
No, he's not. He lost to Ben.
Yeah, so I don't have to really worry about Ben Bateman. So I didn't watch that one.
Maybe the kid. The kid you might have to worry about. The kid is actually pretty good at the buzzer too.
Well, I mean, I know the kid's good if he took out Andreyko. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, if I get that far, I mean, I'd be lucky to even see the kid at this point. Believe me.
All right. It is definitely an interesting bracket that he did. You said Christian doesn't know how to do a bracket. Let's look at that bracket there.
Look at who I have to play, Paul. I've got Paul Oyama. I've got Mark Riley. Irvin's on my side of the bracket. Like, what the hell?
You have to teach Christian how to do a bracket that you want to do?
Basically, I mean, look at this. This is like ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of my seeding.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm a 3 seed.
That's what it seems like. Yeah. Yeah. You're not very shy when it comes to your opinion about that. But Christian doesn't seem to be as
Christian doesn't care. Christian doesn't care what I think. He's the is he the commissioner? I don't even know who's running this league anymore.
He's the chairman.
Oh, well, excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, but we haven't gotten to see her very much.
All I know is I should be a goddamn 1 seed.
A 1 seed.
What are these proceedings based off of? Didn't I have one match before this tournament?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, Christian.
What was it? I lost, right?
Yeah, let me see.
Did I beat Mark Ellis in something recently? No.
Let's see. Your singles matches.
I lost to Ethan. That was this season.
Yeah, that was this season. He lost to Ethan Irwin. That was this season. Yep. Last
Ethan to the last question. All of a sudden, I'm a 3 seed.
You losing Ethan on the last question. That's impressive enough. Anybody losing.
Everyone knew who directed Killer Joe. Okay, I'm not supposed to know who narrated a 40-year-old movie.
Well, all I know about brackets and fantasy play in anything is just what I've learned from the Schmoedown.
Danny, what are you curious about? What can I answer for you?
Oh, you know what? I do have a question. Thank you for that, Jeff. That's great because I was waiting to figure out a way to transition into it. So I heard somewhere on an interview that you enjoy reading, that you started reading at a very young age, and all of that stuff. And books have always been something that was very close to you. So I kind of want to get your opinion on that. Are you reading anything now?
I gotta say, I've slowed down on my reading. I was zooming through books recently. Actually, I just finished Glenn Kenny's Goodfellas book. I wrote a piece on it. So that's a great book. If you like Goodfellas, get Glenn Kenny's Made Men because it was absolutely fascinating. I actually felt bad that I had to write up the 10 most interesting things. So I'm kind of just giving up some of the mystery here. But it's that was a great book. I read a lot of stuff this summer. American Kingpin, which is about the guy who founded the Silk Road. Are you familiar with the Silk Road?
Yes, I am.
They're selling guns and drugs and all this crazy. You could hire a hitman, Danny.
Right.
So it was just this young guy who started this thing. What else did I read? I read about an Alaskan serial killer. I read Don Winslow's new book. He's the guy who wrote Savages.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been reading a lot this summer, but I've got lowbrow taste and stuff. I won't read, the hot nonfiction about a writer getting in touch with their feelings and going back to their hometown. No, I like true crime and detective fiction.
All right. Got a favorite author?
I mean, I love anything. I love the Alex Cross series by James Patterson, and I love the Lincoln Rhyme series by Jeffrey Deeper. Those are my two series. You know Lincoln Rhyme?
I've not heard Lincoln Rhyme. I've not heard of
Lincoln Rhyme. Nice. Okay. So there's so much James Patterson. I only stick to the Alex Cross stuff. I can't read any other James Patterson because there's just too much. Because I'm a completist. Lincoln Rhyme.
This isn't mine. I didn't seek this out, but I have wanted to read James Patterson before, and someone gave me this one, and that's why it's in my shelf. And I have continued my tradition of
everyone has a James Patterson book. But Lincoln Rhyme is The Bone Collector. You guys remember The Bone Collector? Yeah. Okay. It's that series, and they made a terrible or not very good NBC show about it last year. But I love the Bone Collector, and what else do I read? I don't know, Chuck Palahniuk and Chuck Klosterman and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but what Chuck do I have over here? Yeah.
Yeah, Kelsey's backstage. She's liking that. She loves true crime stuff. She tells us all the time about her true crime list.
Yeah, I read all the. Okay, so within the last year or two, I've read all the John Douglas books. John Douglas is the Mindhunter guy,
right? Yeah.
So all of it, I know Mindhunter and all that stuff inside and out. I could write an episode.
Oh, I love Mindhunter. I want that to come back so bad. That was a great adaptation too. Hopefully someday he'll get back to it. Right? That's what we got to think. Someday he'll get back to it.
I listen. If I had any inside info, I'd share it with you. But it's on hold for now until Fincher's movie comes out.
Yeah, Mank. Right, Mank's coming out. That's coming out. Is that done? Is that coming out now? Is that
start streaming? I think in October on Netflix.
Is it October?
Specific date or not? So, but it hasn't hit like my early press queue. They're probably going to keep that pretty close to the vest.
Yeah. Well, is there any movies that you're looking forward to that are coming out?
I'm pumped for The Sound of Metal, which is the Riz Ahmed movie where he plays a drummer who's losing his hearing.
Right. I did hear about that one.
I really like Riz Ahmed.
Yeah, he's a great actor, and I like that filmmaker is interesting. God, I mean, what else is even coming out at this point? Candyman got bumped, right? Top Gun got bumped.
Everything's getting bumped nowadays,
I don't even know what's left. I'm looking forward to James Bond, but we'll see if you can't release that movie if people aren't ready to go back to theaters. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I have a love and hate relationship with the Daniel Craig Bond. There's like really good ones, then some really shitty ones. So
you're right; it's very all over the place. But I have a feeling with Fukunaga that it'll be a classy affair.
The trailer really did sell me, and I'm someone who was questionable about it. Then I saw it, I was like, wow, that really does look fun.
I mean, Rami Malek too. Like you have when you win Best Actor in that Oscar, like you really get your pick of anything, and he chose that, and it had to have been a good character,
right?
For him to do that.
And he actually said he used some of his Freddie Mercury lessons on the villain. So that's an interesting take, having Freddie Mercury as a villain in a way. But yeah, I know there's Dune. That's not when D. Morgan says in the chat that Dune is coming out. I'm a big Denis Villeneuve fan, so you're not hyped on Dune. Okay,
we'll see, man. I listen. I want to love it,
right?
But I did not care for Blade Runner, and I don't think that Denis is a big budget guy.
Okay, interesting.
I just don't know if he has commercial instincts. So, he makes beautiful looking blockbusters, but are they a little too brainy?
Mm-hmm.
I just love where he was at with Arrival, Sicario, Prisoners, the mid-budget adult movie.
I'm a sucker. I did love Blade Runner 2049. I loved how it looked. I'm a big Blade Runner fan, so that was for me. But it's kind of a niche audience. I'm actually really interested to see where Dune goes, because Dune has an audience, definitively has like that audience, but I don't know if it's still as strong as it used to be.
Timmy has an audience, Zendaya has an audience,
right?
But like, is their audience going to pay for that movie in the middle of a pandemic? That's is the question.
And that's the problem. I think we're not going to. I think it's going to be bumped. Probably, I don't know how long though.
When you know these days that things come to streaming. Now we're talking 45 days, roughly, or 47 days is like the new, or maybe it's even like 17 days is the new. I don't even know what they're talking about these days, but it's like it's just so much shorter, and so people they're more willing to wait. I've found.
That's very true, and I think that's it's kind of a sad thing as far as cinema goes. I feel like are we gonna even have cinemas after, or have movie theaters after this is all done at this point?
That I don't know. That's another tough question because you look at the Outcast is not good. I mean, but sorry, the Forecast is not. The outlook and forecast are not good.
And that's just a bummer thing to think about. I love the movie going experience. It's one of my favorite things to do. I enjoy going to the movies alone, all of that stuff. So that's my safe space. I really hope we get it back.
But have you gone? New Mutants, I would love to see New Mutants, but I'm not going because I can't trust the public to behave. Yep. I went and saw Tenet because I could trust fellow critics to behave, but not the public.
My local theaters aren't even open yet.
Still. The theaters here are open, and I look at my app for the Alamo Drafthouse every day. Very tempted to go see Tenet, but
and the drive-in to me is just not the same thing. And being in your car listening over the radio, and then the screen isn't as bright as you want it, and you're like 5 cars back, and some guy's got his red lights on. There's fucking exhaust coming at.
I would like that, but that's just my social anxiety. Like, put me in a space to where I can just talk shit to the movie the whole time and not feel bad about it. Let me
You're a talker, Danny?
Yeah, I am.
Talker, huh?
Not in the theater. I'm not in the movie theater. I absolutely will not. I despise those people. I'm that person that jumps up in the seat and looks at someone for having their phone out. I'm that person. I'm terrible to go to movies with because I am that person that will snap at someone for talking. But if I can talk during a movie, I love color commentary on a movie.
I'd let you bug me.
All right, I think it's time we move on to this or that. That's our second segment of the day.
This or that.
This or that. And so you haven't been here before. Where have you been? But you could say you'll give Jeff 2 options, option A, option B, and he gets to decide between them, and he can either just cut it that short, or he can just expand on it as he'd like to, and we'll go from there. If you have any in the chat, you can throw them in there as well.
I just opened the chat, by the way. Whoa.
Oh.
There's people here, huh?
There are. So feel free to pick any out you want to see. If you see something that you want to.
Okay. Weston, AJ, Chris, Danny, Brandon. Wow, look, you guys got a damn audience.
Yeah. we won the award last year for a reason. Schmoedown.
That's right. I'm coming on the top-rated podcast.
That's right. It is top-rated one. Absolutely. So, all right. Without further ado, the one question we always ask. We always ask this one first because it is a Action Army podcast. It began that way. Civil War did happen. Are you on the side of Team Guy or Team Bateman?
There's only one right answer.
But that's another thing.
Am I on the side of Team Guy or Team Bateman? I mean, can I be on the side of Team Neither?
I don't think you've ever had that answer before. You gotta choose one.
This is in regards to what? Just overall, or
any qualification you want to make about it is up to you.
You know what? Then, out of respect, I gotta go Team Bateman.
Oh, I'm surprised at that. Actually, okay.
At least he wins.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Okay. All right. Fair. All right. Speaking of that, actually, that's something they've always brought up. I don't know how you think about this, but Bateman and Guy have always said they wanted to have a match between Team Action and the Patriots. That's something you think would have been a fun match? Fun match.
I'm sure a lot of teams would have liked to shout at the Patriots boys. Team Action, I mean, are they good? Were they good?
They were pretty good. They
have a good legacy in this league. Interesting. I'd be happy to play them anytime, any place because we would absolutely dunk on them.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. I'll let them know. Well, maybe we'll get that set up with Christian. One of those exhibition matches.
Guy, did you see that performance? He barely remembered his own name.
He let his character definitely get a little bit in his way. I think he's a better player than that. I do think that. He's a pretty good team player. So he's been on pretty good teams, though.
Those guys have zero chemistry together.
Really? Okay. Let's talk about you. Singles or teams? Which do you prefer?
I mean, I've always been a better teams player. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I like being in teams. I like having 6 questions in the second round.
Right.
I don't know. There's something about being in it with another person and being able to celebrate and or have someone to blame. So yeah, my answer is doubles there. But you know what? Right now, until that doubles tournament starts, it's a single-minded pursuit of that singles tournament, and we'll see if it happens for me.
Fair enough. Okay. Would you? I think you kind of answered this earlier about how you make a definitive statement on it. Would you rather face Kevin Smith or Chris Jericho?
Kevin Smith.
That's what I thought. Okay, after that,
Chris Jericho. I mean, Chris Jericho, buddy. Like, you don't scare me. And as a fellow member of the Rockstars, I was just gonna let Chris Jericho know. Listen, you're Chris Jericho. You're the man. But I'm the alpha dog of the Rockstars. I've got the C on the jersey, buddy, and you are on my team now.
Well, I think we should clip that out, send it to him, and see if he has to respond. All right. How about this? We got who would you choose? You had to choose. You have a chance at the title, the team titles. You have a choice of Andreyko or JTE right now.
I should no comment the hell out of you just for the ball to answer that question.
I'm looking for hot takes. You know what I mean?
I mean, right now, honestly, as amazing a time as I had with JTE, I would pick Andreyko right now because I think that I just haven't seen JTE do it in a while. He's got that ring rust, and until he comes back and sort of shows that he's in that same peak form and as focused and as hungry as he used to be, I got to go with Draco.
Fair enough. It's a good response there. That is true. By the way, Sneider versus Jericho. Trash talking would be. All right. How about?
I know more about Chris Jericho than he'll ever know about me.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, though? Probably good for trash talking.
I'm just saying, you got more angles to take on trashing Chris Jericho.
Yeah. All right. We did actually, in the Action Guys did a stream about fast food today, so I want to throw this one in there. In-N-Out, Five Guys, or Whataburger?
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out. Oh,
yes, easily.
Okay. All right. I had it out once. I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah, what, Danny? What are you rolling your eyes for up there?
I'm in Texas, and I live in Corpus Christi, Texas. So my answer should be crystal clear on that one. 100%. I can't ever not say Whataburger.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
It's a very heated in the Action Arm. It's a very heated debate. Whataburger versus In-N-Out. I always throw Five Guys in there because I like it better.
Mark Wahlberg would be disappointed in you for. No.
Marky Mark.
I don't know if I've ever had a Wahlburger. It wasn't very good. It was more of like a Donnie Wahlburger.
That's exactly what it was. I tried that once and I was like, I'm not gonna come back. All right. We said it for Clerks or Clerks 2.
Clerks. I mean, Clerks 2 is a very, very good sequel, but there's the original and then there's everything else. Yeah. Clerks.
I actually prefer Clerks 2, surprisingly. But
okay.
Time Sneider out. Okay, Chris is not happy. Chris is also a big Whataburger fan, so anytime you mention Whataburger.
Yeah, I never even been to Texas except to the Dallas airport. So until Danny invites me for a visit, I'm going to be a California guy, even though I'm here on the East Coast, and I'm going to stay In-N-Out.
Well, that's why I think you're East Coast. I thought you might have had Five Guys more and maybe appreciated it.
He was hoping you were going to be on his side. Is what
I did. I was wrong. And you disappointed me, but it's okay. We'll move on from that.
In-N-Out is a post-award show tradition. You have to go get fast food after every award show.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just stay right there.
Tonight's an Emmy night, so I mean, it would be.
That makes sense.
I would be there right now
if it was a normal season. Okay, East Coast or West Coast, Boston or LA?
I mean, that's impossible. With regards to what? I mean,
where would you rather live if taking jobs out of it, taking the film world out of it, so to speak?
If you take that out of it, then I'd rather live in Boston, like with my family. But I mean, quality of life is you can't argue with California and the weather and everything. I'm dreading the winter months here if I end up staying on the East Coast. Like, I do not want to, I don't even have winter clothes. My Sundance clothes are back in storage in LA. I came out here with just summer stuff. I'm gonna be freezing my ass off. But, yeah, it's tough. I do like. God, there's so much to love about the West Coast. Like but I was lucky enough to have friends. So I know a lot of people who have flown out to the West Coast. They just never found their circle.
Right.
And they, were lonely, or they felt like, rent is high and stuff like that. Like it's the cost of living is worse. So I don't know. But they turned around and went back quickly.
Well, okay. So East Coast, West Coast, who has the better regional food chains?
Oh, okay.
The West Coast. The food is better on the West Coast, I think. They're just in Los Angeles. There's so many different cultures to it. It's not like I'm dining out in the city in Boston all the time, but in Los Angeles, I don't know. It's a melting pot, right?
Yeah.
Mexican food.
I'm a big taco guy. I'd rather take like the Italian food in New York.
Well, yeah, it goes without saying. That definitely.
Yeah. But so every place has its own thing. But I guess I would give LA the advantage there.
Okay. Live
Dunkin' Donuts, anyways.
Live events or studio events?
Live events. To me, I thrive on the crowd, and believe me, if there ever is another free for all, I've been planning that entrance for weeks.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, sign me up for the next free for all. I got the music all picked out. I know. I got the script for Christian to read.
All right.
Genius. But we got to get there first. We got to get to a point where it's safe, where we can all congregate, and I can give everybody hugs. Everybody wear more cologne. Wear more cologne when you come to these live events, because you're sitting there all day. By the time you give me a hug at the end of the night, you stink. So
bring that spray.
Deodorant. It's a small app.
Halftime, you put it on. You got to re-up. You got to re-up your deodorant.
It was just 2 or 3 of you, okay? Just 2 or 3.
I didn't think I hugged you at all, did I?
You're all lovely. You all smell wonderful. Do you actually want to know who the best person I've ever smelled is?
Yes, I do.
This is no joke. Pierce Brosnan. He smells like a bar of Irish soap. It was incredible.
That actually makes a lot of sense. It actually makes a lot of sense when you watch this movie. Like,
terrific Pierce Brosnan. Whatever you're doing, keep going, honey.
And bottle your set, maybe. Bottle your set. And
yes, Pierce. When you watch, I'm wearing Pierce.
Pierce. Do you wear Pierce? I think that's perfect marketing right there. If you're watching Pierce,
we could start a cologne company. Pierce, call me. We could call it PB&J.
I don't know if that's what you market with your smell, but okay, I can see it working, maybe.
PB&J, buy her PB&J.
That's actually Pierce Brosnan actually looks like human cologne. I get that actually. Anyway.
That's my James Bond.
Oh, that's your James Bond?
That's when I started watching movies ish, and plus GoldenEye. I had GoldenEye on Nintendo. I had to play it too.
Oh, the GoldenEye the game was actually better than the movie. I thought
way better. GoldenEye is one of the only movies I've ever turned off halfway and never returned to. It was terrible when I was a kid. I was like, "What is this?"
Do you have a favorite Bond?
Honestly, that may have been my first James Bond movie. I didn't grow up watching Bond. My dad wasn't like a Bond guy. So do I have a favorite Bond? It was probably Skyfall.
Skyfall? Okay.
Probably Skyfall, yeah.
And Daniel Craig would be your favorite actual...
yeah, I had nothing with Bond or with Brosnan. Yeah. Couldn't pick some of the other guys out of a lineup. Connery, he was wonderful. I saw a few of those, but no. Daniel Craig's my Bond.
Okay, I get it. All right. Here's something I know I agree with you on. I know you're a big fan of The Crow.
Yes.
I also was a big fan of The Crow. I saw that movie I think 20 times in the theater. I was in high school and I was lonely.
Where's the Crow belt?
That's what I want to know. Totally. And please, just the Crow, though. No Crow City of Angels or anything like that, because that was
no. Crow City of Angels wasn't bad until that ending. That's one of the worst endings of any movie of all time.
I remember being so like I was like cried. I was so like mad at like just watching this movie at the end. And, like
it was real bad. But some of that movie did right by the Crow. I think. Well, maybe it was just the soundtrack that I loved so much and Iggy Pop.
The soundtrack was good. That's true. Okay, well, The Crow then. How about reboot The Crow or no, or let it go?
Reboot it. I'm open to a reboot, if only because, I don't know, it felt like it could have been a big franchise. You got to keep the budget down. Like, you got to know what it is and you got to know its audience. So you're not making this movie for the people who love Marvel. You're making this for the people who think Marvel is stupid. Okay? Like, that's what you have to understand. And Jason Momoa was an interesting choice because he was going to play the Crow for a while, but ultimately not like he was just like the polar opposite to Brandon Lee. Like, you don't need this big muscled guy. I'd like to see a female Crow. I'd be totally open to a female Crow or a black Crow. I'd like to see Lakeith Stanfield as the Crow. I think it's a good opportunity that's just waiting there. I don't know if I love the team or trust the team that's has that property right now.
It kind of seems like it's been rebooted or talked about forever. I mean, it's like 10, 15 years almost been talking about and just never seems to quite get there.
Yeah, I mean, it was stuck with the Weinsteins for a while, and then Ed Pressman was going to do it, and like it was at Relativity for a long time. Relativity had its issues, so Ed Pressman is one of like the oldest, most veteran producers in town. I just don't know if that's working against him in this case. God bless the guy.
Are there any underrated I'm going off of this or that now, but any underrated action type films like that you think could be a good franchise that have been made like the past decade or so? Thinking of something like an Upgrade or something like that could make a good franchise with new.
So we're talking about movies that would get sequelized, or
maybe sequelized. Potentially do something good. Maybe
the one that has been out there for years that Sony. I mean, they're really two movies. It's the same actress's fault that these aren't franchises. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I tell you, one action star, one woman who's been a part of two huge action movies that neither of which were sequelized and they were supposed to be.
Charlize Theron?
No.
Okay.
She's an Oscar winner though.
Anne Hathaway?
Nope, but you had the first two letters right.
Anne. All right, Anne.
Oscar winner with AN.
Jeez.
God, I'm not good.
That was the third letter. That was the third letter, Danielle.
With G? Oh, Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie had Salt and Wanted.
That's true. That's true. I can think of her.
Both of these movies should have been sequelized. They were both big hits.
Yeah, they were.
No, nothing. The other Oscar-winning actress who was in a big hit movie that should have been sequelized that wasn't. Actually, this actress, her co-star was in two movies that should have been sequelized. It wasn't. Oscar-winning actress, okay?
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a good way to do it. She's been nominated a couple of times. Okay, Sandra Bullock. What Sandra Bullock movie should be sequelized that wasn't? And her co-star was in another movie that was a huge hit that should have been sequelized.
Not Speed 2,
no.
But because that's the worst piece of trash movie I've seen. From recently or from
the last 7 years or so?
7 years. Sandra Bullock movie from last 7 years.
Annie, you want the answer?
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is the one that she was in with Ryan Reynolds, but that's probably not the one you're talking about.
No. The Heat. The Heat 2 with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. And where is Bridesmaids 2? How did these movies not happen?
It does say that female-led movies don't get sequelized nearly as much as they should. That's a very true thing.
I don't know if Bullock and McCarthy didn't like each other, but I think that they have taken their kids like trick-or-treating together in following years. So I don't know what it was there, but The Heat is a layup of a hit. I too, and same thing with Bridesmaids, and I don't know what it is that's preventing those from happening.
Yeah, that's it. That's a wonderful question that should be deep diving into at some point. Wonder why. But
Adams wants Ocean's 9. Okay, Ocean's 9. I thought Ocean's 8 was fine.
Ocean's 9.
I still haven't seen Ocean's 8.
You ever saw Ocean's 8?
Ocean's 8 was No. You don't sequelize that movie. That movie was bad.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was fine.
Dude, you get all those actresses together and you come out with a movie like that. That was so flat.
It should have been a lot better with those actresses. Absolutely, I will definitely give you that.
No, what you do is you do the original Tower Heist pitch. Tower Heist was supposed to be the Black Ocean's 11.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
And if you just did a Black Ocean's 11 with all these black stars now, that like there's enough big black stars to make an Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Is Denzel anymore? That could be a huge hit.
I'll watch anything Denzel's on. Oh, that's true. He's had a couple of hits. First time Equalizer 2 was the first time he did a sequel. I wonder if he could ever come back and do more of that franchise as well. I like that one. But okay.
I like Denzel.
I've never seen a Denzel.
Denzel could be the villain. I want to see, villainous Denzel is the best Denzel, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, he doesn't do it as much as nearly as much as he should. I mean, his Training Day villain was on fire. I'm not even a big fan of the movie, but him in it is phenomenal. All right. Oh, there you go. Speaking of Denzel, been watching a few of his movies the last few days. Favorite performance by Washington and a favorite director combo he's worked with multiple times. Good question, Robert Parker.
I mean, the multiple times thing, we're talking about either Tony Scott or Fuqua, right?
Was any? Yeah. Quit. No. That's it. That's gonna spit a Tony Scott. Oh my God.
This is movie trivia that.
Yeah. No. Tony Scott and Fuqua are the big ones. All right.
Yeah. I guess I'd prefer the Tony Scott movies, even though I think none of them are as good as Training Day.
Hot take.
I love Training Day is way better than like Man on Fire.
I love Man on Fire. Man on Fire is one of my favorites. But yeah. That's what I was thinking of. Spike Lee. I've been watching Spike Lee movies too.
Best Denzel performance. I mean, I think it is Training Day. He's great in those early movies like Glory and Cry Freedom, but he's also great in the hell was it? I'm blanking. Shit.
Fifth round question or 5-pointer.
I'm blanking on my favorite. Oh, Philadelphia. He's great in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
I loved him in Malcolm X.
Yeah, Malcolm X. Yes, he's like Denzel is one of the top 10 actors of all time. And I wish that he had. I guess he's done Fences. Like he's been nominated for Fences and Rome, Israel lately, but neither of those movies I think are going to really be remembered 10 years from now. I want to see him get another just meaty role.
Yeah. I'd love to see him do something like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something.
Yeah, he could definitely take some other chances with some of the people that he works with.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But all right, fair enough. Well, I guess we actually veered off this or that in a way we've never done before. And I like that, though. So we'll end this or that on that point. You survived your experience with this or that. Now, chat, the next part is up to you. We already started kind of with Robert Parker. I saw them in chat and just jumped it in there. If anybody else has any questions for Jeff, of course, streamlabs.com/call-to-action-pod. And my cat just wants to be on the stream all day long. Indiana Jones. Knock it off. We'll give priority to that and super chat, of course. But also we will take any questions in the chat as well. Daddy, do you want to promote anything at this point?
No, Paul. I think you got all of that stuff. Just remember, Streamlabs Super Chats will have priority in asking questions. And I'm going to go ahead and bring on my sweet, lovely lady, Miss Kelsey Kirkland. Welcome.
Hello.
So good.
Hello. I'm excited for some chat
We
questions.
love a Kelsey here. Kelsey does all of the behind-the-scenes work. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So I'm sorry. Now I'm having a weird lag on my end. Kelsey's microphone. This always happens to me. So, yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and Paul, let you take over at this part, and I'm gonna bounce out of the room really quickly and then come right back.
Okay. While we're waiting for the chat questions, we're waiting for Danny to come back. I will promote this the week on of the podcast show. Of course, this week we will have a Schmoedown, I believe, is going to be happening. We're still hammering out the details on that, I believe, so I don't want to give too much away, but usually it's on Wednesdays. We'll have to see what's going on with that. Alice will know more later. As soon as she knows, she will let everybody else know. Danny's back. I think she's back. No, you're not back. Okay, she's not back. She's faking me out. But also, we will be breaking down the matches as we always tend to do this week. We try to break down as many of the matches as we can. 4 matches a week has been a little tough to do, so we will break some of them down on Call to Action Live, which will be another Saturday edition, probably a little bit earlier this week. It's going to be a little bit earlier than we usually go at 10:30. We're probably going to go a little bit earlier because of the, I'll say it now, the Bobby Gucci birthday celebration thing that's going on in the Gucciverse. And a few of us might be appearing on that as well. So we don't want to cross our streams too much. But this Friday the 25th, before that, I will say, I'll throw this one up there. Where's that banner? It's the last general standing inaugural movie trivia battle royal. All of the Army generals are going to get together, about 20 to 25 of them, I believe, at this point, including myself. I have thrown my hat into the ring, and we will be doing our own free-for-all style match on a StreamYards. Mostly hosted and written by Alex Mack with a lot of help from everybody else on the C2A team. Might be having some appearances from Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy as well. We got a promo coming from Nerd Chronic himself. We love Eric Rodriguez, and he's going to do us a little favor. So that should be a fun time to see where we are on that. I will probably be eliminated pretty early on and be able to host afterwards because I'm not that great. If it's an Ed Harris slice, I could do, and if it's a Star Wars slice, I can do. But other than that, it's not going to happen for me. But we'll find out on that. And finally, the last thing I will plug before we start getting to these questions is next week's Chill to Action is a good one. We have that lined up, and we have an ad by Kelsey. Liz Shannon Miller, after her not upset really, but her taking Chance Ellison out of the tournament, she's definitely in the news on the Schmoedown. She's made a definite case for herself to be pushing herself up into those top tier type players. I like to think she's going to be a fascinating conversation. So, and yes, I'm sure Danny Coast will be talking about Tank Girl because that seems to come up with.
So. I'm so excited about that. Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. So I think I have permission from the crew to plug what we got going on Thursday.
Oh, I was going to say, but I didn't know if you wanted to announce it. Go ahead. You can definitely go ahead.
Don't know. Okay, so I don't have any graphics for it, but y'all, as you kind of want to announce a brand new show that we are starting on the Call to Action Network this Thursday. I wish that I had a graphic. I don't. We're getting that ready for you soon, but we are starting a new show called As the Wheel Turns, and it's going to be a Schmoedown show that focuses more on the storylines. We're going to talk about the storylines that have gone on throughout that week, and then we're also going to do a little deep dive of a focus of a particular storyline or with a faction or a person or anything like that. So this is a new idea. It's kind of a new thing that we're rolling out. So tune in on Thursday. That's not going to be its set date. We're just trying to get this thing rolled out so we can get this started. But this Thursday, it's going to be myself hosting with my sweet baby Kelsey right over here. And then our guest that we're going to have on, we're going to have Jake Berlin from A Certain Point of View. We're going to have Shug from the Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmoedown podcast. And then we're also going to have Larry Payne from the Gucciverse on. So come in and hang out with us this Thursday to go ahead and talk about all of that stuff. That felt
like the greatest crossover since Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Congrats on the show, guys.
Thank you. To be older storylines as well. Danny, what you point out, if you talk about older storylines as well, we may get into alternate universe storylines as of what would have happened if that or that thing. And we know that Aaliyah used to have the All the Belts podcast. That's how Mike Kalinowski became a bad guy after pitching that on that podcast. It's kind of something we wanted to dive into as well. Some kind of alternate universe type takes. What would have happened? Like a Jeff Sneider and John Roca team up. What would that have looked like in the storyline? Something like that.
Yeah, we missed talking about the storylines. We missed talking about everything that's going on inside the kayfabe world of the Schmoedown. So I'm excited to get the show rolling. So yay! Tune in Thursday at 9 Central and be on the lookout. We'll get all of the other information for you then. Woo! Okay, that's it. That's all I have.
I feel like I should get more cut scenes. I would like to act more. I feel like I should stretch those muscles.
I would like to see that.
Absolutely.
I'm all over that. So,
Christian, look it up.
if you're watching, Christian, if you're watching,
Start a hashtag.
He's
people.
watching. I'm on the show. He's watching. He's like, oh God, what kind of trouble did Sneider make now?
I'm waiting for the text. All right, Kelsey, why don't you go ahead?
All right. First question was forgotten, I guess, and this or that, according to the chat. Loaded fries or poutine?
Robert Adams, neither. I actually like salt and pepper on my fries. Maybe I'll do, like ketchup or barbecue sauce, but I don't like poutine and loaded fries with like chili or cheese or any of that stuff. No, it's not for me.
Okay.
Jeff Sneider continuing to be the true heel of the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
Neither.
I've never had a salad.
I was like that for a long time.
All right. Next question. Where's the 2v2 basketball exhibition between top 10 and the Patriots? The world demands it.
Again, another one of these things like the match with team action. Anytime, any place. John Roca can barely walk, let alone run. This guy's got a bad knee. He can't shoot. He can't dribble. All he can do is stand in the paint and rebound and maybe hit a layup. Nose is good. I have respect for Matt Nose's game, but I think that JT and I clearly have the advantage there. JT can actually shoot and move.
To be fair, after the scooter incident, does JT still have it? I don't know about that.
Listen, I think his legs are fine. I can't speak to his teeth. But I think he can still run around better than Roca can.
Fair enough. Okay. Next, Kels.
All right.
Roca, someone should get Roca a GIMP outfit, so I can bring out the GIMP to Roca.
All right. Where do you think the exchange goes from here after the Lucas Black debacle? See, I don't even know who that is. I can't even say his name.
So I know that I've heard about a little bit about what happened. Explain it to me, though.
Okay. Basically, what happened is in the Ben Bateman Dan Murrell match, there was a 2-point question.
Yes.
That Ben Bateman got, and it was name the lead
of Fast and Furious 3.
Right? Fast and Furious 3. It was kind of weird way because he said
came back in 7.
And came back in 7.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ben argued that it threw him off, that like a lot of, as far as the 2-pointers generally go, it was not a good 2-pointer, should have been a 3-pointer at the very least. And he was really pissed about it. And it led to a storyline type angle, I believe, where he basically threw everybody into the bus, said Gucci wasn't managing him right anymore. He even threw Riley.
Yeah, okay. Now I think that's all I need. Ben Bateman, quit whining like a little baby. Okay, everyone kind of knew that answer. It wasn't that difficult, I don't think. Maybe it was a 3-pointer instead of a 2-pointer, but I don't see how that's Bobby Gucci's fault. What are you expecting to do? Like mount an appeal or some kind of challenge over something like that? He still has a reputation to uphold as a manager. That would have been an embarrassing challenge. You got to take your lumps, take it on the chin, there, buddy. Move on.
Basically, he also said he wants to leave. He's going to leave the exchange. He never wants Gucci to manage for him again. He doesn't want. Even the Roca has his back, and Riley doesn't.
Listen, that's a different story. I mean, someone like Sam Levine just has way more knowledge than someone like Bobby Gucci or Roxy. Of course, I don't think Sam Levine is a terribly good manager at all. So, it's different people offer different things. Okay. So I don't know if Ben Bateman expects Bobby Gucci to be Sam Levine, but you got to know just like a manager has to know his players' strengths or his or her players' strengths. A player has to know their manager's strengths and weaknesses, and Ben Bateman, his expectations seem unrealistic in this regard.
Okay, I like that. That's an interesting point. You never hear about that. We do hear a lot about how managers should manage, but the idea that players have to know what they're getting into with the managers is a solid.
I know what Roxy's good at, and I know it's not going to be advising me on crime thrillers. That's okay. I've come to grips with that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Your next question is favorite animated movie, since we all know you love them.
That's an easy one. There's only one true champion, and that's Toy Story.
I knew it.
I mean, listen, The Lion King is incredible. You can't argue with The Lion King, but Toy Story. There's Toy Story, and then there's every other movie that just wants to be Toy Story.
I saw you talk about Toy Story 4 and how much you enjoyed it, and I loved it. I was just glowing from it.
The whole franchise is brilliant. I mean,
yeah. I think especially for people who don't
What's the best Pixar movie? Is it WALL-E? Is it Inside Out? I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Are you kidding me right now?
Toy Story.
Always.
It's Toy Story.
All right.
All right. Next question from Brian. What is your favorite match you've played in either teams or singles?
Ooh.
I mean, it was probably the win in Chicago over Bateman and Rowley, just because my high school guys were there and the way that it was done and the slap, and it was a special evening.
1,000 people there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great one. Obviously, the first time I won with JT, like, that everything that they caught on tape, that was real emotion right there. And so those are my two favorite. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Do you have? Let's throw an audible here. Do you have a favorite as like a fan of somebody who watched the Schmoedown? Do you have a favorite of match that you weren't involved in?
Ooh, that's a good question. I really have to think about that.
All right.
I mean, Roka, yeah, I don't know that I can name specifics. Roka has definitely had some, like, this is why he's the outlaw and why everybody why there is an outlaw nation, like, because John's just magnetic. God, and honestly, watching some of those Star Wars matches, even though I have no idea what's going on, I am witnessing like a level of nerddom that like people don't get to see in person.
Fair enough.
All right. Next question is: does the boys count?
Wait, Cam Shaft, Waltz with this year is a great answer. That is true. Like, that's a masterpiece.
There you go. Okay.
All right. Does the boys count as a superhero show for you?
Oof, that's a good question. I mean, you'd think so, but the superheroes are also the supervillains, so that's tricky to say. I would say that it not so much a superhero show as it is a comic book show.
With power?
But technically, there are superheroes, even though sometimes they do supervillain stuff. Like, there's a reason that they're the Seven and people worship them.
Right.
Like, they must do some good at some point for somebody.
All right. That's true. Stargirl or whatever. Stargirl's pretty close to being a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So yes.
All right. Kind of went over this a little bit, but what was your mindset like playing bibs? You seemed out of it that day.
First of all, I always end up playing Schmoedowns like the day after something traumatic or something has happened in my life, like broke up with a girlfriend, or mom died, or I lost a job. It's like, hey, buddy, can you come out to the Schmoedown about 16 hours from now? It's like, so there. I don't know what it was with bibs. I'm not here to make excuses either. There may have not even been anything. I just know that, like I've said in the past, even LeBron James, even Michael Jordan had games where their teams got blown out. And, in those blowouts, I doubt Michael Jordan or LeBron were playing in the fourth quarter because they just knew, like, today's not my day. I don't have it for whatever reason. The great ones are great enough to recognize that. So if you want to, throw Adrian Brody answer in my face about rollerball, be my guest. But if that's all you can say about me after how long I've been in the league, that's you don't have much ammunition against me.
Good call.
All right. And I think that's it for questions.
That's all we got, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Wow.
Guys, send us some more.
Kelsey, what about you, Kelsey? Why don't you ask a question then? You can throw one together.
I'm not an interviewer. That's why I'm not on screen for the first half of the show.
She's the talent, Paul. She just shows up and reads
You're
the
supposed to interview me.
Okay.
Chill to action. We're going to interview Kelsey.
Yeah.
All right, then. I guess that wraps it up at this point, huh? Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, I think so. Chat, if you do have anything else, let us know. But if not, then we're going to go ahead and, Paul.
Look at Jeff. Want me to tell
We're just going to play ping pong back and forth. We're just going to say, yeah, Paul. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Paul.
Yeah.
High quality entertainment right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
why we're
what the people are paying for.
People tune
I
in.
win the award. You have the award back there still, right, Danny? Somewhere?
I do. It's actually on my bed right now because it was cleaning, so it's hanging out right over there. It's actually I just sleep with it like that.
You sleep with it. All right.
The truth is that.
Well then, Jeff, where can we find you? Where can everybody find you? Anything you can plug?
I mean, I'm on Instagram, and I'm still lurking in the Schmoedown Facebook groups, responding to things that I shouldn't. I'm still taking a Twitter break, so I'm not available on Twitter. I mean, you can still DM me, of course, with anything, and I do a mailbag for my podcast on Thursdays, and I do hope that you guys will watch the podcast. But where else? Oh, Cameo. If you want an individual cameo, your friend may want a cameo. Maybe they like the Schmoedown. Who knows? I'm available on Cameo, and I'm very, very cheap.
All right.
I'll say anything you guys tell me to. As long as it's not racist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kelsey's already got her mind going. I see that mind going on that, Kelsey. You want to definitely do that.
Kelsey, oh my God. You don't have to say. I owe you a video.
Can you send to my friend?
My friend.
But yes, anything that you guys ever want, I'm happy to come back on. Maybe a month from now, if I do well in the tournament, maybe if I don't, and it's just before the doubles tournament starts.
Absolutely, definitely. All right, Kelsey, where can they find you?
All right, you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me at Miss Quinkins on Instagram. That's my cosplay site. TeePublic, we've got merch. We've got masks. Wear a mask, please. We can open theaters again. And yeah, you can always find me here on Call to Action on various shows when I can be there.
Okay, and me at Paul_Denizio on Twitter. You can find me on Call to Action Live, Chill to Action here. You can find me on the Action Industries channel, producing for Ben and Drew, as well as doing my own show called Class Action weekly on their channel as well. We basically do this or that with movies in a way, just with categories, and it's a fun time. And I have open PLD projects, my own YouTube channel, where I will be eventually doing the Harris dance, where I will take you through every movie that Ed Harris has ever been in, and I'll make you love Ed Harris like I do, or die trying. I'll find out. We'll find out, I guess. Huh?
We'll see, PLD. We'll see.
You've heard about this for a year now?
I know. I'm waiting for some. Jake Yacovetta's got to give me some more thumbnails first, and I got to wait for tournament season to die down, so we're not reacting to every 5 matches a week at this point. Then
Blame Jake. Got it.
The hair stance takes about just as long as Watch the Book takes to come out. That's right, y'all. You know me. It's your girl Danny Joy here. You can find me on Twitter at Danny Joy, DANIEEJOY. You can also find me here every Sunday with my favorite co-hosts, Mr. Paul Denuzio and Miss Kelsey Kirkland, hanging out on Chill to Action. You can also go to my YouTube channel. I am actually bringing out a Watch the Book episode. It is going to be on Annihilation. It's going to come out on the 30th. So come and hang out with me, where I talk about a book and a movie and the differences between their adaptations. So I will be there. And then this Thursday, come and hang out with me and Kelsey for As the Wheel Turns, the new show on the Call to Action.
As the Wheel Turns.
Exactly.
Yep.
We have to give credit for Maxwell. I think Maxwell came out with that.
Yes.
Our friend Maxwell had that.
Thank you.
Talked about it. That came out so easily. We're like, damn, there is no other title.
Daniel's like, you want to do a storyline show that's kind of like soap operas.
You should call it As the Wheel, you should call it As the Wheel Turned, as soon as we did it. So big shout out to Max. Thank you so much for that. Big shout out for that. But that's going to be it for everyone at the Call to Action crew. For Mr. Jeff Sneider and everyone here, thank you all so much. We love you and appreciate you. Stay safe out there. And as always, y'all, thank you. And we salute.
We salute you.
Paul, you get to press the buttons.
I know I do. I always
Yay.